Skye Squad, that Real Housewives of Potomac reunion was nothing to be played with. We got to get into all the tea as we find out that Monique Samuels and Karen Huger call out the fraudulence of Gizelle Bryant's relationship in what was honestly one of the most epic Housewives reads in Housewives history. And there, I said it, okay? Before we get into that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell button, and join the texting community so that you can be alerted every time a new video drops. And with that being said, let's get into this insane Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Now, before we even get started, I need for you guys in that chatterization, I need you to comment and let me know what you will rate this episode. Give it to me now, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you I'm going to give it the first 10 of the season, okay? I am giving this a 10. I was actually contemplating in my head. I was thinking to myself, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I'm going to give it a 9.5 because you know what? I don't even know what's next in this reunion. And so I didn't want to give it all the points right up front. But honestly, I'm going to tell you like this. The way they had them people talking, I'm going to give it a 10. A solid 10. I'm going to give it a 10 for the last 6 minutes in and of itself, okay? We got to go ahead and discuss everything that went on with this reunion. I want to know, let me know in the chatterization what you guys give this reunion. Part 1, The Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, season 5, okay? Now, we begin with all the niceties. The ladies are showing up. I like seeing all the behind the scenes and stuff like that. Yeah. We get all that, okay? And is it just me, or does Robyn have tiger stripes in her head? Is it just me, or was it the TV? Because every time I look, I'm looking online, I'm looking at every place, and I'm like, is these tiger stripes? What is going on with this hair? Okay, I mean, if you want to try something new, then let's go ahead and rock with it. I'm gonna rock with it, okay? We got a couple of other little hair snafus that we'll talk about within the episode as time moves on. And I guess we can't really blame the ladies because the makeup teams can't come out and touch up on them like they normally would in between breaks, as we did learn. Wendy learned the hard way that there would be no touch-ups, okay, on that good break. All right. So we begin with a little bit of commentary about Gizelle's fashions, and Gizelle blames Karen for the fact that everybody in the nation of the United States of America has been reading and dragging her fashions. She blames this on Karen. Now, I would have to disagree, ma'am. I would have to disagree because we have been noticing those fashions for quite some time. However, it is just the fact that on this show, Karen is the first person to have actually admitted to it and said exactly what we were thinking, okay? And now it's been said, okay? Now, it's asked why the Green Eye Bandits have been able to maintain their friendship, and at this point in time, Robyn interjects.
You know, we've been able to maintain this friendship because it's genuine and it's authentic and we support each other and it's not just for strategy.
Okay, girl, whatever. Robyn and Gizelle then blame Karen for the fans coming for them with regards to the fight. She goes on to state, okay, people are coming at us. They're coming at me saying that we wanted to take a family down.
There was a conversation about someone plotting to spread a rumor that Chase was not Chris's baby. And Robyn said to me, Robyn was there.
And you want to blame that on Karen, girl? No, my dear. That belongs squarely on the shoulders of Candiace, okay? Lest you all forget, okay? But that's a subject for another moment because obviously Andy is not ready to dive into that quite just yet, okay? And I think it's shameful that they want to blame Karen on this when we, the fans, have been able to see exactly what's been going on this entire time. It's honestly just taken us seasons upon seasons to really recognize the fact that the Green Eye Bandits have been the ones who have been stirring the pot behind the scenes and on the camera, okay, much of the entire time that Real Housewives of Potomac has been in existence, okay? So to be quite honest with you, Robyn, it's not Karen's fault that the fans are seeing this. It's actually your fault because the behavior has become so repetitive that it is now transparent, okay? Now, with that, we switch gears and we go into Wendy's accomplishments because what would a conversation of Real Housewives of Potomac season 5 be without mentioning Wendy and her 4 degrees?
I have 4 degrees!
Okay. Now, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys the truth. I am absolutely proud and 100% behind Wendy and these 4 degrees. But the thing about it is, I feel like the degrees are really of most importance to her. She is the one who places the most weight on her degrees. It is not the other ladies. It is she herself who is doing this. And then she wields those degrees as though it were a weapon. You know what I'm saying? And Ashley hit the nail on the head with this, with her pointing that out to Wendy in that regard. And you know, Wendy is so into, and here's the thing, it's great. You're into the degrees. I totally get it. But quiet as it's kept, I mean, I'm just gonna be very honest with you. I think for the rest of us, and I know some of y'all might feel like me, but I got 2 degrees, and quite frankly, I want to return on one of them. And I ain't gonna say which one. But at the end of the day, I feel like this. You know, they made all these promises to me when I was in one of these colleges. And they talked about how you're going to get all of these, you know, big jobs, and these corporations going to be coming after you. They're going to be looking for you, yada, yada, yada. And that wasn't the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I would like for them to put that money back on my card if possible, okay? I would like for them to give me a refund on that because, you know, honestly, I feel like one of those degrees I did not necessarily even use. Now, granted, I am all for degrees. If you want to get a degree in horticulture, okay? Go and do it, okay? I support whatever you guys want to do. I'm just letting you know that for me, in my experience, this is where I dwell at the moment, okay? And then, you know, honestly, they got a nerve to be calling me, asking me for money since I'm an alum. Now, I'm like, what? You listen, I have barely paid you the money that I owe you. Ask these loan people that's giving all these money out, okay? Anyway, that's just how I feel about that, and I'm sorry for that side note, okay? But anyway, so Wendy feels as though she has had to defend her degrees. And Ashley says that you use your education to put other people down. Okay, this is true. True tea. No, listen. All right. Now, Gizelle reveals, okay, that Karen tried to get Wendy fired. Okay, now Gizelle used this moment to deflect from the fact that she added in the word floozy when she reported back to Wendy that Karen had talked about her. So she turned the page real fast to deflect the attention away from her and to turn it back on Karen by revealing that Karen allegedly wanted to have Wendy fired. Now, at this point, Wendy goes, and now we've said it, which leads me to believe that Wendy already knew about this alleged incident, okay? I believe that it was talked about and they knew that they were going to bring this up at the reunion, okay? Now, Karen, for her part, she just indicates that she said to the ladies that she doesn't really connect with Wendy. And I believe that she probably did say that, to be quite honest with you, because I feel like at the time she wasn't connecting with her. But at the end of the day, I felt in my spirit that this was going to be a moment for Wendy. But to my surprise and to my sheer delight, Karen deaded that situation quick, fast, and in a hurry. And I was here for it. And honestly, I like that they both actually seemed to handle that situation with grace as they moved on from that, okay? Now, Andy interestingly points out something that we talked about when we talked about, you know, the ladies. We did a review of the ladies, you know, outfits, and Andy noted that the 2 ladies were actually indeed wearing the same shoes. Both Karen and Wendy had on the same shoes, so that was interesting. And it is here that I have another stylistic note, and I just want to say something. Editors, it's me, Margaret. I have a question for you. Why are we shown an out of sequence clip here with Ashley, okay? Because if you guys may notice, there's 2 versions of Ashley floating around in part 1 of the reunion. There is one with the Ashley hair swooped luxuriously down to the side. And then there is one with the tight bumper curl Ashley. It was a tight shook over here. You know what I'm saying? It looked like somebody had took that curling iron to her head and just wound it up. Okay, just wound it up. Okay, they just kept winding that curl up. Okay, and it was curled so tight I felt like it was gonna go back into her scalp. Okay, it was just odd. It was just odd. So then we have a discussion where Andy kind of incites a little bit of, you know, discord with Candiace and Ashley by bringing up whether or not, you know, Kandi compares, Kandi. I said Kandi, not to be confused with Kandi Burruss, okay? Not for any reason. But Candiace, who actually can sing, he is asking her about how that song compares to Coffee and Love, and she pretty much trashes that song, and they get into a whole debate. And then, you know, Ashley brings up Candiace's Twitter, okay? Now, here's where things get a little delightful, okay? Because Andy tells Candiace,
"You're a disaster on Twitter."
outright tells her that. And I feel like her reaction to him was just kind of still real disrespectful. And I felt like the way he said it to her was very truthful, was very direct, was very upfront, and it was very much like a warning, girl. You need to get this together because the people are not going to be able to stand for this much longer here at the network. Now, that's what I took from it. Okay? So that leads to a back and forth between Ashley and Candiace that gets real heated that Robyn somehow inserts herself into. Robyn was a little all over the place in this reunion. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I felt like because she really didn't have any moments of her own, you know, because Karen told us she gets far and few between. I felt like she was just kind of jumping on any train she could find her way on. And it didn't matter whose side it was at any point in time, unless it was against Monique, which we know that, you know, obviously she's not going to be here for her. But at the end of the day, they get into it for some reason when Candiace says something about Ashley just taking care of her kids. And Ashley's like, well, why are you bringing my kids up? And so Robyn inserts herself into it, and Ashley says something to the effect about her Candiace comparing Dean to Michael, okay? Now, she then says, well, that was rude, okay? Well, let me understand something. If somebody riddle me this in the comment section, is it rude to say that a baby looks like their daddy? Is that rude? Because what that means to me is that you don't think that their daddy is all that good looking, okay? That's what it says to me. Now and I asked this question specifically because it came up during the Eva and Porsha debate from last season where Eva called PJ a little Dennis, okay? Now, Porsha took great offense to that. I want to know in the chatterization, is this offensive? Let me know in the comment section below because I was just as confused as Robyn and her tiger stripes, okay? I really was. Now, here comes the conversation that was the most sensitive of the day, okay? It is the colorism conversation. So Andy asked this question. Is colorism to blame for why people on social media call Wendy and Candiace aggressive? I'm going to read that to you one more time because I think it's important to note exactly what he asked. He says, is colorism to blame for why people on social media call Wendy and Candiace aggressive? Okay? Wendy then looks dead at Tiger Stripes, Robyn, and Robyn responds, well, why are you looking at me? Okay, why are you looking at me, Wendy? And Wendy's like, no, I'm looking at all of you, okay? All of you on that side of the couch. I'm looking at you. What is your response to that? Okay? And then Wendy points out that Ashley calling Wendy aggressive and ferocious was a dog whistle to alert and signal other people on social media to jump on the bandwagon with regards to Candiace and Wendy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the truth. I cannot speak to what the people on social media have chosen to call her behavior. I can't speak to that. Do I believe that Ashley was trying to signal other people on social media to do that? No, I don't. I think Ashley was describing her experience with Wendy and with Candiace as well, okay? Now, for me, personally, I would not call Candiace's behavior aggressive. I would say that her tweets are vile. I would say that her tweets are foul. I would say that her tweets are low and they're below the belt and they're unbecoming of a woman who is as beautiful as she is. That's what I will say. You know, I don't consider her behavior aggressive. I just consider it wrong, okay? Now, with regards to Wendy, I believe that Ashley was describing uncharacteristically forceful behavior with regards to the situation at hand. You know, Wendy's behavior at that moment when she went at Ashley didn't call for her to have that much anger and that much venom for the situation as it was. It was just about bringing the babies. And at any point in time, I'm sure if she had asked Monique to bring the baby to the lake house, I'm sure Monique would have responded with an affirmative, absolutely, okay? Or, can I actually bring my baby up now? Well, absolutely. We'll send a car for your baby, okay? Bring her, we'll bring a nanny, we'll do whatever we need to do so that you don't have to be separated from your child. I'm sure they would have done that, to be quite honest with you. I'm sure they would have. So for her to get as upset as she did and to kind of go in the way that she did, Ashley was correct with regards to her behavior. She did use her degrees and her education as weapons. She did all of those things. So it's interesting to me that when Andy asked, so if we can't call that behavior aggressive, then what should they call it? Wendy asserts that they should substitute words. Oh, okay. So we could say that Wendy was acting hostile. We could also say that she was acting belligerent. We could also say that she was being antagonistic. We could also say that she was being quarrelsome. These are all synonyms for the word aggressive, since that word is no longer available for us to use with regards to Wendy. And because she has asked us to no longer use the word aggressive to describe any of her behaviors that may indeed look so that means for us, if the shoe fits, obviously we can't put it on her. So now we are forced to find words that fit the situation, that describe her, that don't say aggressive. Got it. Okay, fine. I will acquiesce to your request. Now, interestingly enough, we got some comments from social media that I do want to point out to you that I thought were quite amazing. And one user says, colorism is not an issue in this situation. Wendy has displayed aggressive behavior time and time again. She is not the only one who has been called aggressive on this show. The colorism card can't be pulled just to excuse bad behavior. I thought another one was interesting that said, yes, it is a dog whistle, and so are ghetto and hood rat. These women constantly throw microaggressions around like this at one another, just about how everyone on this show is guilty of it. So I just kind of felt like this whole conversation wasn't necessary unless we're going to talk about the use of the words ghetto and hood rat. Then we have another person who says colorism is a real issue. However, in their scenario, I feel like they tried to change the narrative to justify their actions. Candiace and the rest of the girls continuously call Mo all types of hood rats, but God forbid someone calls you aggressive. Get the F out of here. Candiace is definitely verbally aggressive, and Wendy has put others down because she's educated. That's not colorism. That's calling it how viewers see it, okay? And another person says she called herself hood, not a hood rat. Huge difference, with reference to how Candiace said that Monique referred to herself as being hood. So to me, we won't label Wendy's actions as aggressive anymore. I will, again, like I said, I will acquiesce to her request. We will just simply say that she is elitist. Okay? Now, let's move on. Andy asked Candiace, do you take any accountability for what you say on social media? And she gives a roundabout answer, okay? It's a roundabout. I believe that Candiace thinks that what she's doing on social media is reading people. And as I stated before, those aren't reads. That's just vile speaking, okay? That's just nasty talk to people that you don't even know. And for her to be you're on a reality show that's huge. Why are you responding to everything that people say to you on social media anyway? Just do like Robyn and just get off social media like she has for the past couple of months. Okay? And so Andy then tells her, I think your life will be easier when you ease up on social media. And that could not be farther from the truth. What I would have loved to see from Candiace in this season, I feel like she would have benefited from, and she could have really came out on top, is for her to really uncover her issues that whatever they may be in therapy, and for her to really lean into, maybe the possibility that she is sometimes in the wrong. And I feel as though the audience would have rallied behind her in a way that we haven't necessarily seen before, because it would have been another side to her and it would have shown evolution and growth. And I believe people wanted to rally behind her. And there are still people who are, and I don't blame them for wanting to do so. But I'm just simply saying that it's hard to do that when we still see that you're continuously spewing vile hatred stuff on social media. It's just hard to me, okay? We do see that Candiace has entered her MBA program and she's getting the new house, which we are all excited and happy about. I know Wendy's definitely excited about this new degree.
I have 4 degrees!
And then Karen and Gizelle begin arguing, okay? Because Karen raises the fact, okay, that Every Hue is no longer in business after Andy asked the question about this from a viewer. Now, Gizelle's response to this is interesting because she says her manufacturer shut down due to the pandemic. Now, I don't know how much of that is true. The manufacturer may have shut down, but what I do know also too is that this whole thing with Every Hue, I believe, happened well before the pandemic even happened, because I could have sworn I was speaking about it on this channel and I got information about it from before the pandemic ever really happened like that, okay? So to me, this just kind of seemed and smelled like
Y'all smell it? It smells like a...
It smells like a lie, okay? But that's just me. Now, anyway, Karen chimes in and says, no, actually, my dear, Target liquidated you. Okay, let's get into that. And so at that point, Gizelle says the manufacturer has closed, okay? Now, to me, this whole reunion is us seeing the unraveling of Gizelle and her machinations and the fraudulence that has gone on with her storyline for so long. And it's interesting to me because it's being called out by the people that she has leveled the most hatred and venom against, okay? Now, apparently, she is still rationalizing why her dad and her daughters feel the way that they feel about Jamal, because Jamal is the next topic of conversation. And then Karen so eloquently and calmly asks, well, are you back with Jamal? Word on the street is that Jamal and Gizelle agreed to fake this relationship to save her job. Did he have another baby while he was seeing you? Karen asked this ever so calmly, okay? Ever so calmly. And at this point is when we see the release of the Kraken, okay? The binder has made its appearance, okay? And here's the thing that I like about this moment between Gizelle and Karen and Monique was the calm, cool confidence with which both of these ladies handled Gizelle. They didn't get irate. They didn't do a lot of screaming. They didn't do a lot of hooping and hollering. What they did was supported by real evidence that points to what we, the audience, have always known. We have heard about these things from months ago, months and months and months ago. Most of us here on social media, on YouTube, and in these streets have been hearing this word for quite some time, to be quite honest with you. And it was interesting to me to kind of see Robyn try to interject and ask Monique, well, what's your motivation? Duh, you know what the motivation is. You know what's been going on all along. Candiace told us you were there and you were a part of the whole situation this entire time. And speaking of Candiace, it was interesting to see her jumping and screaming and trying to jump into this conversation to try to shut Monique down as Monique is reading us the evidence from that binder. It was so interesting to see Candiace trying to support Big Sister Almighty, looking like the only pledge in the building, okay? Because Wendy, as she kept trying to whisper under her breath to Wendy, Wendy knew. Wendy knew that that ship was sinking faster than Gizelle could spread the word on the street. She knew. You could tell the look on her face. She knew what was coming. Ashley knew what was coming. Everybody on that cast knew what was coming. And it wouldn't even shock me if half of those ladies were in on the farce to begin with, to be quite honest with you, okay? And Gizelle, it was so interesting to try to see her sit there and look calm, cool, and collected, but looking as though she was biting on a bitter lemon, okay, the entire time. As Monique continued to read text messages from one of Jamal's alleged mistresses or side pieces or whatever they may be called at this point in time. As Karen pointed out, there was a new baby or something like that allegedly happening during the time that Gizelle and Jamal were together and filming this show, okay? That is what the allegations have been, and it didn't take for them to say it. It did take for them to say it on television for Gizelle to finally have to actually face the music and confront these things head on, okay? And it was interesting to see her sit there and try to squirm her way out of it as she always does. And the funny thing about it is, she is the one who on this show continuously stirs the pot, continuously tries to destroy people's families and reputations, all for the sake of making good television. And the only thing that I could think of as Gizelle was sitting there in that seat while Monique and Karen were tag teaming that behind was, you know what, Gizelle? It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.